Hi everyone, my name is Nicolette Little and I'm the author of the children's book, A Toot in the Tub. And I was going to talk to you a little bit today about story ideas and where they come from and some things you might want to do if you're curious about being an author as a future career. So, first of all, I often get asked, where do my story ideas come from? And I would have to say that they come like a spark. They come when I don't expect them. And sometimes I could be walking down the street and an idea for a story comes, and I start to giggle. And it comes, out of nowhere, really. And I think that one of the most important things that you can do if you get little ideas coming in and out of your head that might make a neat story is write it down right away. So, those of you who are writers, you might want to scribble down a few notes to yourself about the idea. If you're more of an illustrator, you can draw yourself a bit of a story map or plan based on the idea that's come to you. But either way, it really helps to get those little fizzes of neat creative energy down on a piece of paper so that you can get back to it later and then work on it when you have a little more time and not forget it. Those little ideas are gems that can be turned into great stories sometimes. How do you get good story ideas? Well, I think that having good story ideas comes from living an interesting life and being curious about the world around you. I don't think it comes from just sitting on the couch and not doing that much. I think that going out and talking to other people around you, having interesting conversations with your family and friends, trying to learn things about the world. So, maybe you're curious about learning how to fix your own bike. Well, get onto Google. Check it out. There are probably some neat videos on YouTube. Learn what you can about it. Maybe you're interested in figuring out where, thunder and lightning come from. Same thing. Go learn about it. Go figure it out. Read a book, maybe from the library or your online library right now. We have the internet at our fingertips, which is an amazing resource for information. And I think that the more we can learn about the world around us and the more we can keep our eyes open to it, the more chance we have of really neat story ideas coming to us. And one thing I've learned is sometimes what makes a really great story is real life. And what I mean by that is, sometimes the real conversations that happen around us or the things that happen in our daily world are really great material for us to build our stories out of. And so what I often do, and I recommend this, is I keep a little book. It's not a fancy book, and it's tiny. It fits in my pocket. It fits in my purse. But I keep it with me. And then when I hear a snippet of conversation that I find really, funny or interesting, or if I see something happen that's kind of ridiculous, but really interesting and funny, I scribble down some notes in here, or I scribble down a few quotations of things that I hear. And then I go back into this book later when I'm writing and I draw material from it. So I highly recommend keeping a little book like this with you and, scribbling down some ideas you get from your daily world and potentially using that in a story later. It's been very helpful for me. And so another question I get from students or kids sometimes is, what if my story idea doesn't work out? And you know what? It's just a reality that not every single story idea will work out, but some of them really do, and they turn into gems and excellent stories. And so, sometimes you just got to put some work into that story and write it and work on it. And sometimes it'll turn out to be great, other times it might not. But it's something that all of us authors face. And, even for the stories that don't quite end up the way we want them to, I can bet you've probably learned something, maybe about writing, maybe about the world, maybe about how you want to approach your next story in the process. So it's still a worthwhile exercise to write those story ideas. And finally, one thing I would suggest if you want to be a reader a writer, sorry, if you want to be a writer, is to read as much as you can. Reading books gave me countless happy hours as a kid, and I still love reading. And I think that there was a pretty direct route from loving books and loving to read and the path I took in my life to, teaching writing and teaching about books, about literature, at college or university, and to writing my own book as well as an author. So if you love reading already, you're ahead of the game. If you haven't loved reading, but you're interested in getting into it, fantastic. It's only going to add a lot of happy hours to your life. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to disappear into an imaginary world, the imaginary world of books. So I hope that this has given you a few ideas in terms of how to write your own stories. And if you have any questions, I do always invite people to reach out. You're welcome to reach out to me on social media, either through Facebook. I have 2 pages, one, the book page for Toot the Tub, and one, my Nicolette Little author page. And I'm happy to receive messages or notes from people through those and to answer them as best I can. And also through Instagram. So Nick Little Writes, or Twitter, Nicolette Little 6. So any of those, reach out, ask a question. I love hearing from people, readers, writing hopefuls all the time. It brightens my day. So reach out. And finally, I want to thank the Young Alberta Book Society for making it possible for authors like me to chat with young people and young writing hopefuls like you. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you.